meeting to order. If you'll please stand. Councilman Matthews, invocation, and Councilman Throw will do the pledge.
Father, as we assemble ourselves together, we give you the praise. Father, we thank you for blessing us to wake up this morning to see a brand new day that we never did see before. And now, Father, we asking you, Father, you said the 2 or 3 or 7 themselves together, you'll be one in the mix. We pray that we conduct city business in the best manner that we know how. And Father, let bless Cochran, Georgia, and the whole. In your precious Son, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show that all councilmen are in attendance. I'd like to modify the agenda. We have a presentation by the rec department from Shannon Jones. I'd like to substitute that in at the beginning of the meeting. I'd like to amend the agenda to include the rec department presentation. I'll take a motion for adoption with that change.
I make a motion that we make that change.
Okay.
Second motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the agenda is adopted with the modification. Okay. Mr. Jones, you have the floor.
Mr. Mayor, at Councilman Thrower's request, he came out meeting, our last board meeting, and it seems like the only time y'all hear from us is when we're in the ditch and something terrible's wrong and everything's bad. So what we'd like to do is come for y'all once a month, maybe for 2 minutes, and tell y'all where we're at, what we got going on out there at the rec department. A couple of highlights that we got going on. Soccer just finished registration. We had almost 20% increase from last year. So soccer's catching on doing well. Baseball, softball ends this Friday for registration. A big thing for us that y'all are going to see some benefit, and everybody in the city will, is we allowed our director and authorized him up to $10,000 to go bid on tournaments, to get state and district tournaments in Cochran. We were successful landing the 10 and under state baseball tournament. That's going to be between 12 and 16 teams. They're going to be here for 4 days. We paid $3,500 to get that tournament here. That'll be around, if each kid brings one parent, that'll be around 1,300 people that will be in our hotels and our restaurants and everything else. There's no way with $3,500 that we're going to go backwards. We're going to make a substantial amount of money. One of the counties that had this tournament last year, they bought a new John Deere Gator and a golf cart off of what they made, off spending the money. So we feel good about getting that in there. We've worked to get the fields up to shape in order to host some of these tournaments. If y'all go out there, there's some new bat racks, helmet racks, a lot of new signs that they're putting up. One change that we made, we have exited our contract with concessions, and we will now be doing our concessions ourselves. My former contract was paying us $4,000 a year. I'm not going to sit here and promise y'all that we're going to make more than that, but I don't see how we will. I really feel like in the long run we'll come out better on it. And then the last thing that we got 2 other tournaments, 6 under state, 8 under state, softball for girls. Those teams will be coming from North Georgia, South Georgia. They'll be staying in our hotels. And we're going to be required, last thing is, we're going to be requiring our coaches this year for baseball and softball to sell 15 tickets for a pork chop dinner for opening day. So for opening day, everybody in the county can come out there, you can eat with your family. And I think that's going to make half of our concession budget up just in the pork chop right there. But, for June and July, y'all look at the rec department to be busy. There'll be people from all over the state.
I'd like to congratulate you for your thinking outside the box and getting creative.
Yeah, it takes some creativity sometimes, but I really feel like we'll come out better in the long run. I don't think we can do much worse.
Okay, thank you very much.
How's Andy doing?
And he's doing good. It's a lot. You know, we're trying to, and I know you and I have talked about this. We're in competition with some travel ball. And travel ball's part of it, and we're trying to figure out ways to get more tournament play here. And we're at a crux of you've got to spend money to get your facilities nice enough to be the destination for people to come play. The big thing that we've got going for us is geography. I mean, we're 2 hours from everybody to come play. Andy's doing a good job. He actually, when we as a board authorized him to go spend money and buy tournaments, he could have bought 2 tournaments, but he said he wanted to make sure that we could do one and do one well before we go to book for multiple tournaments. And yeah, we'll proceed cautiously like that. All the labor for these tournaments, new fraternity at the college, those boys have to do 3,500 community service hours. We're getting all that free. So those boys, you know, it's kind of just hooking people up, people that need to do work, people that need the work done. But baseball, softball numbers right now are slow, but they always pile in on Thursday and Friday.
The last days of the business.
Whenever they come in, we look for numbers to be fairly well in line with the last.
Are you able, Chin, to provide us with some financial numbers periodically so we can check on those?
Yeah.
And I know, following up with some of the old council members' requests to keep a check on those. And of course, you know, I know we do some of your funding, and in the future probably will want more funding. It's a lot easier to justify that funding if we have some hard numbers that we can look at and show how y'all are doing.
Sure, we'll bring whatever our board package is for the meeting. I can just bring that to y'all. And not only in the future, when we want more money, we want the present as well. But we'll keep y'all updated. Right now, we're doing well. Soccer numbers were better than what we thought they were. I'm looking, just from talking to people, I think baseball softball numbers should be pretty good too. So.
You didn't mention nothing about basketball.
Basketball, okay, yes, my daughter's playing, I should remember that. This year in basketball, we are sending our first all-star teams. We've never done this before. They start not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that. Sending kids everywhere. I know one group of girls is going to Claxton. If they win a game down in Claxton, they will be going to Raven County. And the basketball kids don't get to travel as much as the softball kids. There's not as much travel basketball. And the cool thing in telling those kids they were all-stars was when we told them where Raven County was, all of them wanted to know if we could drive 5 miles further. They'd never been to North Carolina. So you're going to get these kids, you're going to get to go somewhere that they normally wouldn't have got to go. That's going to cost the rec department about $150 a team, and we just felt like it was money well spent in serving all the kids.
Basketball this year, were they up?
John, I'm going to defer that. I don't know. I wasn't on the board last year during that time. We had, in my estimation, a fair amount of turnout, but I can get those numbers back.
And we need more supervision out there too in doing basketball.
Right.
I was out there, I think, last Saturday, and there wasn't no kind of supervision out there. I don't even think the guy that did the record when he out there.
Did the what now?
The director of the, whoever your director is.
Andy.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
Yeah, and what we've done with Andy is, oh, you were talking on the weekend?
Yeah, but we still need some supervision.
Right. And we've got 2 boys that we hired, younger, I say boys, younger fellas, that we employ to work out there on Saturdays, just because we can't work Andy 65 hours a week. And if he's working 5 days a week, we can't keep him out there on the weekend. If we want any kind of continuity of a rec director, we're going to work him to death, not pay him to run him off. So we've got to give the guy some kind of break. And in that break, we're having, with limited funding, you can't get much on the weekends.
I know, but the kids out there running around with no supervision, and that's gonna be a problem if you don't address it. When I was out there and I saw that, and in fact, I talked with Richard about the same thing, giving out both of them out there. And one of the referees came to me and telling me about that problem. And that's why I'm glad you're here tonight, so I can mention it to you.
Yes, sir. I'll make note of it and get back to you.
I got a question. Can you do this?
I have a question. When you say kids, what age?
Watching on Saturday.
What age are the kids on Saturday?
21, 22.
Okay, so they're.
I'm just guessing. Yeah, I call them kids, but yeah, they're
There
not.
should be some rules that y'all can set up out there.
Right.
I was thinking of the young kids, and I was gonna say, what are the parents?
We need
They're young kids.
It wasn't nothing.
Thank you, Chairman.
The question I got is about the food vendor. You say do you have a different one or the same one?
No, there's.
We're good.
You're gonna do the food
That's
vendor.
correct.
How about the old guys? He's not under contract anymore?
No, sir.
Okay, did you get everything paid off for
Yeah,
him?
1 week will be completely
In
current.
1 week you'll be paid off?
Yes, sir.
How much,
Right now, $278. I think that's the number off the top of my head. It's less than $300.
get the money and run him off.
Right.
And they are on the
You know, $4,000, if we've got hundreds and hundreds of people here this summer, we'll make a dollar pie rate. I don't say I'm not gonna make. Well, I may come back and tell y'all we only made $3,000, but I think.
Why you gonna make money
I
with
think
him gone? I ain't no doubt about that.
Thank you, Chair. Richard, you're going to take number 2 here, the reading of the GCCMA 60th anniversary proclamation.
Mayor and Council, I'm a member of the Georgia City County Management Association, and the association has asked member cities to pass a resolution recognizing their 60th anniversary. So this, I say resolution, I mean proclamation. So this is proposed for your consideration. Whereas the Georgia City County Management Association, GCCMA, is celebrating 60 years of service to Georgia's leaders, cities, and counties. Whereas GCCMA is the recognized affiliate organization of the International City Management Association, and whereas GCCMA, originally founded in 1956 by a small group of city managers interested in professional development, has grown and expanded its membership to include Georgia city and county managers, directors of regional development centers, and principal assistants. Whereas GCCMA membership represents several state agencies in addition to the representatives of the County Commissioners Association and the Georgia Municipal Association. And whereas GCCMA is respected as a premier association of professional local government leaders building sustainable communities to improve lives across Georgia. And whereas GCCMA's mission is to create excellence in local government by fostering innovation, collaboration, mentoring, networking, continuing education, and other development opportunities, whereas GCCMA provides a variety of member services and 2 educational conferences each year. Whereas GCCMA members also have access to multiple training programs on special subject matters, whereas GCCMA has assisted professional local government managers in all areas of the state of Georgia in obtaining continued education. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Cochran, Georgia does hereby recognize the Georgia City County Management Association's 60th anniversary in the year of 2016, and encourages all local government leaders to recognize GCCMA for the impact the organization has made and continues to make in Georgia communities. So that's the proclamation.
That's the proclamation, okay, well, thank you. We need to do anything with that, or?
It would be to pass the proclamation.
Okay, I will take a motion then.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Got a first and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, proclamation is passed. Richard, I believe you've got the rest of the agenda here. I'll just let you run on that over.
Well, I'll just pick them off one at a time then, Mr. Mayor, with any council input. The council is asked to approve the city's portion of a contract with the Atlanta Regional Commission to prepare the upcoming Cochran-Bleckley Comprehensive Plan, and you're asked to authorize the payment of the city's portion. The Cochran-Bleckley County Comp Plan, as it's called, it's the comprehensive plan, is due for an update, and the Regional Commission out of Baxley will do the update. And they're going to be conducting about 4 to 5 community meetings over the next several months to get input from community leaders from the banking industry, education, civic groups, the city and county, other organizations, to plan ahead for the city. I'm sure that mayor and council, may be involved in those meetings. And so the regional commission does charge a fee for this. It's $22,500. I met with the county. The city's portion, it'll be based on population. We're 38% of the county's population, so 38% of that total is $8,550. So the council is asked to authorize the payment of the $8,550 towards the contract that'll be entered into with the regional commission. I think the regional commission may contract, I'm not real sure of this, but I think they're going to contract directly with Bleckley County, and the city's portion will pay a portion of that contract fee. The end product is a new comprehensive plan. There'll be a future land use map for the city's consideration. This will be brought before the city for review, but there'll be some updates on the economic development priorities in the city, different sections on possible improved land use areas, future housing opportunities. There's just a number of sections of the comprehensive plan. So we're looking forward to it. We're asking the council to authorize the payment of the city's portion to the regional commission.
Do we need a motion then to
Yes.
approve the payment of our portion to the comprehensive plan, which would entail how many dollars?
$8,550, and that's budgeted under technical services and administration.
I'll make the motion that we accept that amount.
Second.
Okay, got a first and a second. Any discussion? None? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Richard, would the other portion be paid by the county?
Yes.
Or have they opted into that already?
Yes, I met with the county that we'll be bringing this up and authorizing the city's portion.
Okay, next item.
Mayor and council, we have really the next two items is the Georgia Environmental Facilities Authority loan. I think you have a memo. Has that memo been distributed? On the GFA loan. The first GFA loan is the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, and it's $2.5 million. I wanted to mention that we've been reviewing the debt opportunities for the city over the last several months. We have had two competing funding options for the city. And this goes back to the city's need to upgrade water and sewer infrastructure, including sewer collection lines, water distribution lines, water wells, water tanks, the waste treatment plant, and manholes, the whole range of water and sewer services. It touches on the fact that originally the city was going to go into $10.5 million or $11 million, Mayor, about 2 years ago. The city opted to refinance its previous debt, and we have a bond of $4.25 million right now. We have also, in the last year, we've taken on a loan of $1.5 million under GFA for sewer. This is the last leg of it. This is a little over $5 million under the GFA loan, $1 million of which is forgiven. It's in the form of a grant. We pursue grant opportunities to the fullest extent possible. So this is a 20% grant. The debt is for the first item, that's the Clean Water Revolving Fund. That's 1.03%. It's a 20-year note that we're asking the council to authorize. That's at 1.03%. We looked at the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a competing debt opportunity. They offer a 40-year note at 2.5%. Not, in my opinion, as good a deal as GFA. USDA does offer some good opportunities for small communities. But in my opinion, it's my recommendation that we go for the shorter term, the lower interest rate. Our annual debt coverage will be a little bit higher, but with our new rate schedule, we'll be able to cover it. So as far as what's going to be done with the money, you have a handout on, this was at least in your packet last night, the GFA loans, the project components. And it's under Phase 2, sanitary sewer rehabilitation. That's for one of the loans. And then the water improvements, which is the item that we're talking about now, is on the second page. And those projects will be conducted with the $2.5 million. Again, the background on this is for this particular item, we'll take these one at a time, Mr. Mayor. $2.5 million, Clean Water State Revolving Fund, 1.03%, 20-year note, and we're actually going to be borrowing the $2 million, $500,000 is forgiven. And the projects that will be conducted are, in a nutshell, and I'd like to ask the city's engineer to come forward. With the water rehabilitation, we have the radio read water metering system, the elevated water tank rehabilitation, the new replacement water line installation with fire protection, and install new valves on existing water mains. So we're talking about the water loan and asking for council approval. Skip, could you elaborate on these 4 items?
Well, as you know, you own 4 water tanks that are in your system. They haven't been serviced in quite a few years. There is a requirement by AWWA for maintenance, etc. They will be completely rehabbed. They all need rehabbing. That's a very expensive item. The radio read system, every meter in every residential and commercial meter on the water system will be replaced. There'll be backflow preventers and new radio read meters installed, so that right now you have multiple people going out reading meters and it takes a week of time. You'll have one guy drive down the road in a truck and he'll have the information back to the city hall in an afternoon. And it'll be exact and it'll be ready. The other issue that happens with those water meters, you don't have a standard water meter replacement program, which you should have in place. That's a normal process. Water meters, as they age, become less efficient. Less efficient means they don't record the right number, lower. They never record higher. They always record lower. Yeah, they always record lower because they lose efficiency. You have a huge water loss number that you have to address with the state. When people are actually paying for the water they really utilize, your numbers are going to go up 4, 5, 6%. That's going to take some of that lost revenue away from or back to you, and account for lost water that right now the state thinks is going wherever, but it's actually going into people's homes. The excuse me, what else was on that list?
We have the new replacement water line.
Oh yeah, we're going through the system. You've got a lot of areas in the city that, for whatever reason, somebody wanted a water service and they ran a 1-inch line over here. Well, the next guy wanted one and they extended it and they extended it, which is not the proper way to do it. We're going to go back in. We're going to be running real water mains where those areas exist, providing fire protection for all of those areas. Any area that's not covered by fire, we'll be working with the fire department, et cetera, to identify all those areas and make sure that the city gets better coverage with fire protection. And then we're going to go back in and cut in water main valves. Over the years, the city didn't have any records essentially on where their water valves were, where their water system was. We did the GIS, but you can't locate what nobody knows exists. It's sort of a hidden item. So we're going to go back and identify critical areas where if there's a line break, if there's a problem, Public Works can go and isolate an area and work on it. Right now they don't have that capability. They have to isolate a huge area where they know valves are. We're going to make it a little more restrictive so that they can, do their job. And that's what the water portion of this is about.
Mr. Mayor, on this $2 million note, we anticipate at 1.03% we'll be paying the note back at $110,696 per year. Our anticipated revenues are in the range of 1.8 million. So we anticipate being able to cover that easily with our revenue stream. Of course, I have to state that we are going to be controlling our expenses as much as possible. However, we do need to look at rates periodically to review what our revenues look like. I just wanted to mention that and present to you the resolution for the GFA water system loan program. I have the resolution here. Do I need to read it? Or?
Probably should.
Well, okay. Okay, is that? Okay. Whereas the governing body of the city of Cochran has determined to borrow but not to exceed $2,500,000 from the Clean Water State Revolving Fund administered by the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, which is the lender, to finance a portion of the cost of acquiring, constructing, and installing the environmental facilities defined in the loan agreement. Whereas the city of Cochran's obligation to repay the loan made pursuant to the loan agreement will be evidenced by a promissory note of the city of Cochran, the form of which has been presented. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing body of the city of Cochran that the forms, terms, and conditions and the execution, delivery, and performance of the loan agreement and the note are hereby approved and authorized. Be it further resolved by the governing body of the city of Cochran that the terms of the loan agreement and the note, including the interest rate provisions which shall be provided in the note, are in the best interest of the city of Cochran for the financing of the project, and the governing body of the city of Cochran designates and authorizes the following persons to execute and deliver and attest respectively the loan agreement, the note, and any related documents necessary to the consummation of these transactions. It has signature Mayor Michael Stoy, attest Lisa Chastain on all the documents, and of course the resolution will be signed by all council.
Anything further on that?
No.
Take a motion to approve the resolution.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Second by Councilman. Further discussion?
I have a couple questions. Skip, on those water, the new water meters going in, how soon, with the automatic readers, how soon will that be in place?
Well, the city's expressed an interest. Once we get this funding in place, we can probably have the project ready within about 60 days for putting it in bid. So you're looking at, by the summer, it'll be under construction, or should be, if the city wishes to move at that pace.
Is that the pace we wish to move, Richard?
The sooner the better, Councilman, unless you have some other.
No, absolutely. Part of your included, did our expenses stay the same? Our current rates will pay for this, and you said you want to control our expenses. Does that allow us to cut back an employee based on the fact that he said they could read them so much faster than they could in the past? Will that allow us to control one employee, or have you got that far?
No, we haven't evaluated that. That could be the result, or we could move people around to make our operation more efficient. But we haven't drawn that conclusion yet.
Okay, move person second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, I won't belabor the point on the sewer resolution. That's $2.572 million, $500,000 of which will be forgiven. This sewer loan is a 20-year note, annual note payment at $116,142 over a 20-year period, 1.31% interest, which is better than the competing debt opportunity of USDA at 2.5%. Current rates will handle that, although we have to look at our expenses and rates on an annual basis. On your form, we have Phase 2 sewer. These projects will be funded by sewer. It's at the bottom of the page. And that's the GFA 2.5 million. There's, you can elaborate on this, Skip, cleaning camera, point repairs, cure and replace pipe, manhole rehabilitation, manhole vertical adjustment, replace manhole frame and cover, sanitary sewer line pipe bursting, and sanitary sewer line replacement or addition.
All of these items are to address the deficiencies in the current system, handling I&I issues. As you well know, when it rains, the wastewater plant is overloaded because of water inflow and infiltration into the system. That's what this is to address. These are just line items that we would be bidding, and it's pretty much a standard procedure. You have to clean in camera a line to be able to then line it. You've got to identify services, you locate all those. You do point repairs if you have a problem in the line that is going to interfere with the liner. Then the cured and placed liner goes in place. Manhole rehabilitation, we've got a lot of brick manholes in the system that are leaking from the groundwater. All of those are going to be sealed up. Manholes that are too low, they're in the flow line of a creek or stream, they'll all be adjusted, raised out of the flow line. They'll have bolt-down covers put on them. They're gasketed so they cannot leak. That'll be the type of issue that goes on. And then for areas where we have to replace a line, we'll be going in and digging and replacing lines, adding either capacity or just because the materials were so broken down. There'll be some areas where we can't dig because of logistics. We might be in the middle of a highway, we might be under somebody's house, we might be, any of those things. That's where pipe bursting comes in, where we can go in there and basically drill out the pipe through its existing carrier and insert a new pipe. So that's what we'll be looking for under phase 2 of this project. Yes.
On the manhole covers, you're gonna do some work in the manhole. Could they include fixing that lid? Some of them that drop far down, and I assume they got inserts or something. They put them, raise that lid up even with the street.
We're not adjusting any manholes to grade in roads. That's not what this is about. This is not a traffic issue. This is strictly an I&I issue. The manholes we're going to be raising are going to be the manholes that, like I say, that are out in flow lines, low-lying areas, et cetera, where water can infiltrate into these lines. We'll bring those up so that water cannot get in them. The others that you're talking about are usually an item that's handled under pavement conditions. When you go to repave and resurface, you adjust and do it at that point.
Any further discussion? Questions? Not a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I say,
First and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Skip.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we have, City of Cochran will file, under item, says item 4, City of Cochran will file for a community development block grant application and commit the required financial match for grant financing in the event the grant application is funded. This is on the agenda. This could be placed on the March agenda.
So I'm saying, would it be based on the work session, this is appropriate for March?
Yeah, sure. That's when the resolution will be presented to the council, so we can file the grant application by April 1. You have a memo, request to approve the customer service clerk and code enforcement position for full-time status. Each employee would receive benefits package at $6,600 per year. Benefits include health insurance, life insurance, and holiday pay. This would also upgrade code enforcement to full-time. This is for one of the customer service clerks, and the impact on the budget is $21,499 per year. The city's revenue stream from general funds and water and sewer fund is sufficient to cover this ongoing expense. This was not included in the original budget that was adopted last June 9th. So this has to be brought before the council for your consideration and approval.
Any
This a new clerk? It's a new clerk you hired?
Yes. She's been in a full-time temporary position, but this would make it a regular full-time position.
Richard, do you have these funds already available?
Yes.
Okay.
From your initial budget, Richard, this is a new, just that, I know who the employee is, but you're basically, wasn't hired to replace somebody. This is a new position at City Hall.
She did replace somebody. It's always been either part-time or temporary.
she doing
But we've had this position for a long time.
We've had the position for a long time. I believe it was full-time at one time in the past. It was reduced to part-time. It was restored to full-time temporary. This makes it a regular full-time position.
So she already put it in mold, she just ain't getting paid for it, right?
Yeah, she's
doing full-time work, so she getting, so she's part-time.
she doesn't have the benefit of holiday pay and.
Oh, she's full-time already?
She's temporary full-time. So we do not, under temporary full-time, as a municipality, we don't have to extend benefits to a temporary full-time. But if it's regular full-time, then she would come under the regular protections of our personnel ordinance and also receive benefits.
She willing to take a position for that salary?
Yes.
Any further discussion?
So you're making both of them, you wanna make both of them, the code inspector and
The code enforcement, and the customer service clerk. We have two customer service clerks. This just affects one of them.
So the other one already,
Those aren't her salaries on there, Andrew. Those are the increase in salary.
Yeah, the increase, the $21,499 is the impact, the annual impact on the city's budget. We have the revenues to pay for it. The money hasn't been authorized by the council. That's not her pay. The code enforcement, there would be a salary adjustment plus the benefits For the temporary full-time customer service clerk, it would just be, she would become a regular full-time.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll take a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a first to approve. I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Richard, do you have anything else?
No, sir, not on the regular agenda.
Have to back up just a second, gentlemen. I forgot
You
to,
missed an item.
I had forgot to request approval of the minutes from the last meeting. So, at this time,
I make a motion we approve.
okay, I got a first and a second. Any changes, modifications, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes to approve the minutes. Okay, mayor updates. Two items here. One, City Park, as you recall, last meeting, we posted to the website all of the task force progress that has been done to date. We're waiting on our engineering firm to submit. We received late this afternoon here a preliminary diagram with no cost analysis. So the task force did not meet in February. It will not meet in March either. As soon as the analysis comes in, Richard will have to do his analysis. And then at that point, it'll go back to the task force for review and then sent back to council for consideration. So we're probably, I'd say the earliest it will make its way to council realistically is probably sometime in April to May. That's best case scenario. Richard trying to work the budget as well. As soon as we get that data, we'll move it forward. But please, we have not, as a council, made a decision one way or another on this topic. We charge the task force to do a review and an analysis and present the results of their analysis to City Council for consideration. And that's all the further this has gone to council. Yes, Mike?
I'd like to make a motion that we discontinue trying to purchase the land, any of the administration that goes along with the park, that we vote park to stop the park altogether, do away with the task force and stop it.
Okay.
The city doesn't have the money. They don't look like they're gonna have the money, and it'll be a drag on them funds, so I'm making a motion that we stop it.
Can I help you clean that up just a little bit? Because we did not move forward on the purchase of any of the property.
I understand that.
So you're making a motion that the task force be disbanded and the whole park go away?
Right.
Okay. I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
I second.
Okay, there is a second. Discussion. Okay.
In talking to Clement and to the people in my community that elected me, at this point in time, we've had some of the highest raises in our rates to offset some of the loans that we're having to go against. We have a recreation department that is in dire need of work. They find it very difficult to talk about putting $375,000 or whatever the money is in a park in another area. Just comes across as the wrong time to even discuss it. And every time I hear, it's been nothing but a negative comment that we even entertain it. And my thought on it is, if we were to ask, and I think people have volunteered on this, if they got a grant for $300,000, I'd have a hard time obligating a penny of the city's money to match that. And my position is, I just hate asking them to keep voluntarily working for something I truly can't support at this time based on our economy and where the city is.
We got streets now bad and paved. We got a lot of stuff going.
How many streets do you pay?
Y'all need to think about these youth so they can have a place to go.
John, what you mean by the
Really
wrong
do.
area? You said, you that elected, I elected you, I ain't said nothing about the wrong area.
I've got, and what I'm talking about here is the rec center has so much need out there that most of the people that I've talked to just simply aren't for having another park to burden us until we can afford to pay for what we currently have
Well, it depends on what the first part.
at the recreation department. They have a park out there that's in terrible shape.
And it depends on the people that you're talking to. These kids need a place to go to.
Yeah.
And during the summer, haven't had a place. The county is not gonna give it to them. You could work out something. Something could be worked out. We know about the pipes, we know about this, we know about that. But think about the youth. At least they do have a recreation center out there to do something.
Okay, I'm gonna stop for just a second. This came up as a surprise here. So what I'd like to do, I noticed that Mary, I'm assuming you've got comments on the park. Do you have any objections if we just, like, anybody in the audience who wants to have comments to weigh in?
We got a motion on the table.
We got a motion, we're in the discussion phase of the motion. We haven't moved beyond that. We can have dialogue. Does anybody wish, any objections?
Well, let me say this, if you were gonna have it open for the public to come in and talk, then there would be a lot of people up here. I received a lot of flack and do every time somebody brings it up because the city doesn't have the money to do it. They're not likely to get it in the future. And even if they did, there's a cost continuously. It's not something that's gonna have revenue producing. It's gonna cost the city from now on. And this is what the people are saying, hey, we want the streets fixed. We got buildings downtown that need to be fixed. We got this, we got that. And we got a park, we got a recreation department where children can go and they can do different things. And what we should do is enhance all that out there. We got a walk place for people to walk. We got stuff if we'll just take care of it and open it up for them.
Okay. Task force wasn't going to do any more than the analysis and present it to council. So I guess with the motion, you don't even want to hear what the recommendations are or the analysis.
I made a motion, let's stop it. It's bringing on so much flack and so many people that, if you, and I know you probably look at Facebook, you see plenty of it on there, and we get plenty of telephone calls, and there are people that been living in the city all their life, and they just dead set against it because of the money situation. Yeah. We need so much money for other things until it's just not something that we need to do at this time.
I have a question. I have a question. Where's the area that's in question that's a problem?
Oh, that across from the nursing home.
It's right in front of Andrew's house.
No, it's not in front.
That's just a working spot. That's just a working area that's being planned around for the purposes of designing the park. It could be anything.
I'm just asking, why is it a problem? I heard what you had to say. I mean, given what you say, you have been told. I'm just asking, what is the main issue? What is the problem?
No money. That's the main problem. You don't have any money to do it with. Even when you get through with your planning and doing this and doing that, you don't have the money to do it with. And you're talking about somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000. Now we can take a lot less money than that and go over there and straighten out the rec department, whatever they need over there and get things done. We got a track up there for people to walk on, and there's other playgrounds and all the children around. It's just not something we need.
Other playgrounds where? I'm just trying to follow you, that's all I'm trying to do.
All the schools got one.
Yeah.
In churches.
And it's just something that we can't afford at this time.
Not a common area for the kids to play.
Richard, would there be any grant money for that if we were to do it anyway?
We still gonna have to put money with it.
Yeah, there's grant money Councilman Ace said there is grant money available for purchase. Number one, though, the city would have to compete for it. Number two, we'd have to match it. Mm-hmm. So it may be 50-50 match, 60-40 match, that sort of thing. Right. So any grant that's secured that we're eligible for, there'd be those two conditions. We'd have to compete for it, and we'd have to match the funds.
And even after then, the city still would absorb some costs because of the upkeep and all of that on the, you know, that's a for now on thing.
Well, yeah, we haven't done an analysis of how much that's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it got gonna cost something though, gonna cost some money. But upkeep,
Well, to operate a park or to maintain a park, there'll be some maintenance expenses.
I guess I understand where you're coming from, John and Fleming. I guess I would rather wait and see what the report is and have the data in front of us to make an educated decision instead of just terminating without knowing the facts. But we have a motion on the table, first and the second. Any further discussion? Okay. Call question. Is there a vote?
May I say something?
Go ahead, Mary.
I heard the same thing. During these city hall meetings, when I proposed, let's bring a Walmart in, okay? What do we need a Walmart for? We could go to Eastman. Those are some of the replies that I would get back. But thank God we have one today because I didn't keep my mouth closed. And other people.
It's reducing though.
Of course, you have to attract different things. I'm talking about these kids, black, white, purple, whatever. When I'm out in the streets, a lot of people just can't afford pools in their backyards or swing sets or anything else. And they say that they don't have anything for their children to do, go ride a bike or whatever. It's fine playing sports. The South is about it. Seems like the whole world is. But sometimes little kids want to run around in a park and play and ride their little bikes. They've been riding around the track for years or walking around the track or whatever. But have it your way.
This is open back can of worms. Yo.
Billy Owens, anybody don't know me, I'm all for, I'm all for getting something for kids to a park if you can afford it. I'd like to have a Mercedes sitting in my garage other than what I got in there, but I can't afford it. So if you're willing to raise property taxes, that's how you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna raise property taxes, you're gonna raise other things. Bottom line, that's how you're gonna pay for it.
that's right.
We need streets fixed, we need other things done, and I know it might be funds, you can't take money out of this fund and put it in this fund. I work with government long enough to know all those little games you play.
Yes. But we don't know yet how the funding is. The analysis hasn't been done. We don't have the data.
Exactly.
Where's it gonna come from? It's gonna come from city?
It's gonna have, I acknowledge it comes from someplace, but we don't know where yet. That's all I'm saying, is that we don't have the facts yet.
We don't have the money.
Can I say something? All of a sudden, when it's about the park, everybody realizing that the streets need to be done. The streets did need to be done. But all of a sudden, why is it such a big issue now? When you want to park here?
You can't afford for it either. At this point, they can't afford to pay the streets until there's some revenue coming in.
Okay. I'm hearing the same arguments back and forth. I'm gonna call for the vote.
Oh, can I say one thing? And I won't take an unpopular position. You know, this is not a position that obviously this group's going to want to hear. I sit on school council, PTO president, coach balls and girls and everything, and I understand we don't have the money right now, and I get that. However, what y'all have to keep in mind is they're really boosting this up at the elementary school. These kids came before, they wanted this idea, they had this idea and everything else. And I sit on the same position with Shannon and everybody else. I believe our rec department's underfunded. I believe that we need to do some things. However, if there is a task force that is put together and assembled, and they're doing this free of charge, why don't we allow them to continue doing the work, as long as it's not affecting anybody else? Allow them to do the work. I understand some people may think it's a waste of time. However, bring it to there, and then let the children see. You know, hey children, here's the cost analysis, here's what it's going to take to do it, and let them generate some more ideas. And I say it because of this. Everybody says, hey, we need to get a new thought process. It's the kids, it's the kids. Listen, I was a child that's running for a leadership position in this community. And if you kill their ideas right now, and you just stomp it out right this minute, they're not going to come up with new ideas. They're not going to try to reinvent the wheel.
Amen.
We do need a pump, but we do need our rec department funded properly too.
Exactly.
And the reason, things like this, of us just bickering, going back and forth, it's not going to get us nowhere, guys. Let's allow the task force to do what they're doing. I think it's not a wise decision to kill it right now. That's just my opinion. I know that's not the popular one. That's just being honest. And it don't matter where it's located at. Let them do the analysis. Let them get the stuff coming back, and then have the facts to be able to show, to be able to back it up and say, hey, listen, this is why we can't do it. Here are the concrete numbers. And let the children then decide, hey, let's come up with this. Maybe they come up with fundraisers. Maybe they come up with something. Maybe they're working at a dream that may happen or may never happen. But give them the hope to let them continue doing something. That's all I'm saying.
That's all I was trying to say too. I was gonna
I don't know exactly, we got plenty of room.
I would like to see the
I would just go out and look at them, and we already got a start out there.
I would like to see the numbers. I think the numbers gonna be in the range, Mr. Gilman said, 300, 400, maybe more total. You know, if we get a half and a half, that's great. But, taxes will go up if you get this, you know, there's no two ways about it. And, my last comment on the, rec department, there's never been an audit out there. It's been a leaking, theft, bonanza at that rec department.
Tell the truth.
I'm telling the truth. I saw it with my own eyes. I don't remember seeing very few people out there at those meetings. When you only have 2 or 3 people, including the council members that's on that, it's been a leaking sieve out there. Before this council sends any money out there, somebody needs to go out there and make an audit, get them ready. But nobody cares. Nobody ever cared. For 4 years I'm sitting there, and nobody still cares about that audit out there. That's a leaking sieve for money. Don't send the money out there. I'd like to see the number on this.
Let me say something if I could.
Fred, let's finish with Fred. That's gonna be the last comment from the audience.
I'm here to talk to y'all about something else, but in conjunction with that, I'll sell you some property for $10,000. You ain't got to worry about no $300,000 in the football room. And I guarantee you, it's right in the neighborhood.
Mayor, I'd like to have the last comment from the audience, and I'm standing up as a citizen, not as in my position that I'm normally here for. But I have to say this because my daughter is one of the children that came before you and asked this body to consider this. And I'm also going to take the unpopular position that Derek took and ask you to at least allow the task force. It's not costing the city 1 penny for what is being done right now to continue to be done. You always have the option of voting this down whenever that day comes down the road, be it this year, next year, whenever it may be. You still have that option of voting this project down when you have all of the data in front of you. But there is no harm in allowing something that children brought before you to be done if it's not costing the city taxpayers 1 penny. There is no harm in that. I mean, you can tell your constituents, this is not costing you anything. Children came before this body and asked you to consider this, and that's all you're doing at no cost to these people. No cost to the city residents.
It doesn't matter when we stop it. The city doesn't have the money. They don't see any way down the road where we're gonna have it. It's a waste of time to just keep going and keep these people outside upset about it.
Well, what I would say
is, you bring little children, they're gonna come up and talk if somebody let them. If you tell them you want so and so.
But it was their idea. It didn't come from an adult. It was their idea. This did not come from an adult. There was no adult that went before them and put something into their head. You know, everything we do in a leadership position is all about making the quality of life for our residents in the city of Cochran better. And I agree that we have a lot of issues. I know as well as anyone, we have a lot of issues in the city. We will always have a lot of issues. We're working, and I think doing a pretty good job as council leaders and mayor and Richard and the department heads. We're all on the same page. We're all working better, more efficient, and we're making a lot of progress in the city that really, it was way overdue, and progress that wasn't really present in years past. There's a lot of good things going on here, and I'll be the first to admit that there's a lot of things that money needs to be spent on, and it adds up to a lot of money, and I understand that. And I actually agree with you that the city is not in a good position right now to fund a park. But I hate to have preconceived thoughts about how we can do a park down the road. Right. You can take the study that this task force comes up with and work towards implementing it in 3 or 4 years. It's not. Right. It may not happen right away. Listen, you know, these kids may be.
Let me say something. I agree with Chief. I agree with Mr. Waterford back there. Now, we had these children coming before council. Drew up a letter, presented a letter to council. These kids had an idea. They had hope. I hate to kill a child, hope. You know, let's not do that. I would hate to go back to the 3rd grade and the 4th grade and say, well, you kids forget about the park. That'll be damaging to them. These are our future. This is our future. So I suggest, and I'm only saying mine, I suggest that we continue on with the task force. Like you said, it might be 3 or 4 years down the road, 5 years down the road. But I make a motion that we continue the task force. It's disturbing to me to...
I certainly, and I think both of you and I seconded that motion. I'll withdraw my second with the understanding that our against it is not against the children. It's against the fact that we've only covered some topics tonight. We're fixing to talk about, we've talked about cutting fire services, we've talked about cutting in other areas, and when you put all those together, it's very difficult to talk about funding a park at this moment. Yeah. I'm not against the park either, but I'll withdraw my second, understanding that if it were to come up now, it's a lot harder to look at. In 2 or 3 years, it might be something we certainly can accomplish.
Right.
Understanding that
you can't raise taxes again. You just raise taxes. When you raise the millage rate, you raise it on everybody. There are people out there that's living off small income, and we raising taxes. We can't dump this on taxes. And that's what it'll wind up being. Now, if we want to spend some money, we should have went out to the crossroad out here and put in water and sewage and got businesses in out there. Mm-hmm. That's revenue producing. What you're talking about with a park is not revenue. It'll be around your neck from now on. It's not 1 year, 10 years, 20 years down the road. You still got that same problem. If you don't see that, then you can vote any way you want to.
I just want to say that I've got a 5th grader right here. That he wasn't in that original group, but this is my 11-year-old son, and he just told me that he would just like to wait to find out how much it's going to cost before we worry about shooting it down. You have a 5th grader right here who just wants to wait and see how much it'll be before we just
Here's the protocol. I got a first withdrawal, second. You have the first. Are you going to do first or you withdraw?
Let's just, task force working, look at.
We have a withdrawal of the motion, second, withdrawal of the first, motion is never made.
Okay.
Is the rumor mill that it's already been bought and already started?
That's all out there now. Everybody's looking at the website. If anybody wants the facts on what's been done so far, www.cityofcochran.com under news and updates. We put everything out there. That's the facts.
So we have bought it.
We haven't bought anything.
I'm just trying to get you said.
All we did is a planning session. Objectives were established, planning session, listing, the engineers were engaged. We've just really just been dialogue and working through the process. It's not something you knock out overnight. But people have to go into it as if you're going to build it in order to try it. Why bother if you're not going to have any plans of moving forward? So it's been basically structured, designed, but it's designed to bring recommendations with data forward to the council to look at, analyze, and make a decision based upon the current budget, future budgets, or whatever else we want to look at.
You can't put it on, raise the water rates again,
No.
raise the taxes again. That can't be done.
This is you're gonna have to look at the facts and make your own analysis and then vote accordingly.
Right.
That's all this is doing. This is not a predetermined event. Council has not voted any support one way or another on this.
Right.
Okay. So that's finished. Let's move on to the next topic. If you recall, back in September of 2013, this goes to fire services, and really goes to double taxation, House Bill 489, and shared services. In 2014, City Council endorsed moving forward with notifying the city that the current fire contract was to expire at the end of 2014. The city was either going to terminate or revise. As part of that, City Council agreed to move forward with that, and you've got that letter in your packet. Based on that letter, City has been engaged over the last year and a half with the county trying to resolve funding inequities regarding all of the shared services. Fire just happens to be one of those. Regarding fire services, we have reached a point where we have not had any resolution working forward with the county. Negotiations have not proceeded, and we reached a point at which we need to close the loop with the 2014 letter. That letter actually authorized it, approved by legal counsel, and you'll see in the packet a letter dated 2014 for February 10th of 2016, officially notifying the county of its intent to cancel its agreement and stop services to the county for fire service at the end of June. So there has been any further dialogue. It is an offer in that letter to continue negotiations if the county wishes to proceed in that direction. This is part of the entire service delivery agreement. We have a package of information we'll be posting on our website on the news and update tomorrow, which includes the correspondence as well as House Bill 489 and the shared services agreement, so that members of the community will be able to take a look at that and derive their own conclusions from the data that we have within our file. What I need at this point in time is a motion to proceed with sending a letter dated August 14th to the Commissioner terminating service as of the end of June.
I make a motion that we send a letter to the commission terminating service at the end of June.
Okay. It has been studied on the, I have a motion on the floor to send it forward. You have to wait till I get through that.
Mayor, did you state the date as February 10th?
February 10th,
Okay.
that's tomorrow. There's a draft letter in there that's been approved by legal counsel. We don't, we'll be continuing fire services at a 28%, 70% of your fires last month were in county. And the county city picks up.
You say they can't come back on the city with discontinue the fire service in the county?
No. City doesn't have to cross city lines.
Well, what?
City does not have to cross city lines. County is refusing to participate in any further discussions.
We've been paying it for years. I don't think we ought to cut the fire off, fire service off.
Well, we're not getting reimbursed. 67% of your fires are in the county.
I read it's
Leo says we're okay.
I like to get right and say,
Letter that I wrote is approved by the letter, the February 10th letter is approved by Leo.
I don't think it's still doing the county right, go ahead and shut them on now, and just more confirmation to pay with Bob Rock.
There has been none. If you check out the letter to the editor in today's paper, Bob was basically stop negotiations with the city.
One point, clarification, Mayor. this would stop the regular fire service out in the county as of June 30,
Right.
which is still 4 months or so from now.
This still allows time for further negotiations if Bob wishes to come back to the table.
What about motor vehicle accidents in the county?
Sorry, what?
Motor vehicle accidents in the county, would the fire department still respond to those?
They can.
If we get in a wreck on 87 North, the fire department still come up and assist us?
First responders.
First responders, first responders is something different.
That's right.
The county's got the first responders.
It would be hard for me to believe that if a house is burning down and y'all closer, that y'all would cross city line to put the fire. I mean, that just don't seem like to me the right thing to do.
But it doesn't seem the right thing to do for Bob Brockman not to pay his fair share.
Yeah, you
It's
go.
not
That's what I'm talking about. The county got there. We can pay.
That's talking about the person's house.
That's right, that's it.
Evidently, they don't care.
They sure don't. You're right.
You should have
They ain't got to pay this year too.
At least I ain't don't, but not
If Mr. Bob Brockman furnishes more money, he's gonna have to raise the taxes. You know who's gonna help pay them the taxes? The city.
we already had to pay.
She's gonna pay more.
Man, Bob can't make a budget without the city. You gotta understand, he can't make his budget without us. You gotta understand that. I mean, you gotta understand, he can't do a budget without the city. He cannot make his budget without the city. He cannot.
I know y'all not gonna let him go to y'all. I said, it's years.
I have a first and a second. Okay, discussion.
Sir, can I just say this? We also in the middle of election season's coming up. You know, I take a firm stance on if the county's using 70%, the county needs to pay 70%. All right, if we have to raise taxes out to the county. Sir? No, I'm just saying, you're fixing to mess with people's lives. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if you cut them off right now, and the fire chief says, when you draw that line in the sand, that line's there, and you can't cross it back. Because you can't tell people, hey, you know, we're not going into the county, you know, anymore, and then go into the county, because what you said is going forward. I agree with you that you know, it's not fair, it needs to be the county paying a portion, but I just don't want to see somebody's house burned down that's a mile out in the county, when the volunteer fire.
The county is still their fire services. They will be running off of their stations and volunteer fire service.
So, I couldn't hear you.
Fire services are still available in the county. They'll have volunteer firefighters as well as their fire stations with water tankers and the truck. What they're opting to do is use the equipment, supplies, and personnel that they have available.
I'm gonna leave it at that, I just don't think it's a wise decision.
Okay. Any further discussion within council? Okay, so we got a first and a second. All those in favor of termination at the end of June, with the opportunity for further discussion, if the county commissioner wishes to come forward, please indicate by saying aye. Okay. I gotta have Andrew?
Aye.
Gary? Regina, 3? Okay, all those opposed? Same sign.
I'm opposed to cutting it off. I'm not opposed to you talking to the county commissioners.
Well, he said that he's gonna try that again, try to contact them again.
One against? Charles? John?
What is the actual motion that's out there now?
Termination.
I'm not sure which one it is anymore.
Okay, the termination, motion is to terminate fire services at the end of June, based upon the letter that we had, that's already been authorized by council in September of 2014. This is just a reaffirmation of that.
Right.
We already approved it, but that was a previous council. So we have, it's that with the option of reopening negotiations if the county wishes to come forward.
You're asking for my vote?
Well, right now, I know that you're going for or
In
against.
favor of sending a letter.
In favor of sending a letter.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-2. 2 opposed, 4-4. Okay. City manager discussion item. Richard, I'm going to get back to you.
Mr. Mayor, I have several items, to be as brief as possible. You have the financial statement summary for the first 7 months of this fiscal year, running from July 1, 2015 to January 31. The city has spent $3.2 million since July 1. I mean, yeah, we've spent that money. We've received revenues of $4.15 million. So our revenues are running a little bit ahead of expenses. We're getting heavy into the budget period now. The department heads, we had a department head meeting this morning. The department heads are getting their goals and objectives aligned with the city council's present strategic plan. If any of the council members, as you go through the line items, if you have any question, let me know. Call me at the office. We can go over it, or as we get into the budget sessions, we'll definitely be going over it more thoroughly. Wanted to mention from a budget standpoint, we are changing software at City Hall from QS1 to Edmunds. We have general ledger training tomorrow that we're all looking forward to. And so we are in transition there, but it should provide us with a much more versatile system that will provide us with budget figures that are at our fingertips. So we're looking forward to a really good budget process. I'll be getting with Mayor and Council on the first budget session, probably in late March. Please review our financial figures. We are proceeding with looking at annexation for the city of Cochran. We've discussed this at the last couple of meetings. We have several county islands within the city, working with the city attorney on it. Regional Commission has provided us with some maps. This is going to be a process in the upcoming months, and I'll be apprising the council on our progress. But we are looking at annexation of the islands, and then after that, opportunities for annexation in the surrounding area of the county or of the city. We have had the trash cans, ASLs distributed in the last couple of weeks. I'd like to ask our Public Works Director, Jacob Daniels, if he could come forward on with regard to the ASL distribution, advanced disposal. They had informed us of the garbage can distribution last week, that it was going to take more than 1 week. Now we know it's going to take more than 2 weeks. It should be completed next week. With regard to your regular garbage cans, will be changed out. Jacob, could you address, to residents how long they should keep their can out there so that advanced disposal can pick it up and change it out with an ASL?
Keep your can out on your day of service till 6 p.m. If you don't have a new ASL card, bring it back like normal. No real change in that. Our number one goal is no service interruption, because all these green cans have been scattered around this town for years. So our only goal is there's no service interruption, because everybody's getting their trash done. As far as the cart distribution goes, It was kind of overshot by the contractor. They did have some issues logistically, getting the cans here. They've got 2 trucks running, then they got 6 personnel on their crew, and they're distributing around anywhere from 350 to 400 cans a day. That's distributing and retrieving the old carts off the road. And I would say that, you know, I don't know if I received my can. I didn't get my can last week, so I ain't even been home to see if I got mine yet. But I would just say that they're on the tail end of getting it done. So next week, everybody should be done except for the, you know, they're the ones that are Tuesdays on vacation or whatever. We'll pick them all back up.
Then you put the bows on West Dodge Street and get one.
Say again?
You put the bows on West Dodge Street.
What's the address?
184 West Dykes.
184 West Dodge.
Years and my mom sit right there at that fence and they only left one for my mom.
Okay, well, we'll have to.
I made a note of that.
We'll have to check, see if they're paying for 2 cans or not.
No, one goes to Mr. Bozeman and one goes to my mother at 19. But they sit in the same place to be picked up by the trash can.
Okay.
By the trash man. But they know that one is for Mr. Bozeman and one is for my mom.
Okay.
And they only left one out there for my mom.
Okay, we'll take care of that one. Anything else?
Mayor and council, we are going to move towards we're looking at our pothole situation in town. I brought this up during the work session. I'd like to ask the city's engineer, Skip, is he still here? He's not. Well, anyway, we're with regard to the potholes, I'd like to let the council know we are going to look at seeking a private contractor to address our most serious pothole situation. With your concurrence, I'll proceed to solicit some bids from local road paving contractors to address the most serious potholes in town. The city street crew can address many of the potholes, but we have some that are serious that need to be tacked. We don't have a tacking machine that provides a preserved cover on the pothole and will solidify it for a long period of time. We've been using the cold mix and it's not effective over a long term. So what I intend to do, and we have the SPLOST money available for it, is to solicit quotes on the most serious potholes. We'll be getting input from our city's engineer and public works director, Jacob Daniels, on what we'll address, and this will be brought to your back for y'all's consideration at the March meeting.
I thought I would pay the direction, the conversation with you.
We've contracted with Dykes Grassing. Jacob, could you address that on with regard to resurfacing on East Dykes? I think the last conversation with Dykes Grassing was that
Dykes is waiting on the contract from the state to do Dyke Street, east west. I don't know if the contracts have been received from Atlanta back to them, but we've already talked to them, and they're going to go ahead and initiate our the MiG-16 for 9th Street Terrace and Pine Street. They're going to do that in conjunction with paving Dyke Street. I think they're out somewhere working on the interstate, because I haven't been able to get in touch with them at all to see if there's any progress made in it. So right now, I knew the timeline they was looking for was around February. So it may be the end of the month. It could be March. It all depends on when that state contract gets to them to execute Dyke Street.
That's Dyke Street east and west,
East and
city
west.
limits?
Yes, sir, city limits.
And Pine Street and 9th Street Terrace?
Correct. 9th Street Terrace is going to be paid from Peter Street to Ann Street, and Pine Street will be paid the full length. That's coming from the mid grants that we apply for every year.
Railroad Avenue, where you coming from?
Railroad Avenue is coming from Tia, but that's going to be, we're going to try to blend all that in with that CDBG that Skip and Bob presented to y'all earlier. because we gotta do some serious drainage work on railroad to make the paving more effective.
Does that grant include some of the paving if you have to do it?
It depends on what we figure out as far as the specs go for redoing the sewer and removing that AC line and putting the new
Is that
main
possibly in
in.
that area where that road's so bad there?
Yes, yes. And, we really want to try to at least get the drainage going, because that'll help out with the T when we actually pave the railroad, to get a better base, get a better drainage, make the pavement last a little longer.
Martin Luther King in that same category.
Martin Luther King is on tier 2, but I've been working with Mr. Richard, and we're trying to actually execute MLK with SPLOSH funds. So we can go ahead and pave MLK sooner than later, since there are so many residents on that road, and just get reimbursed. So we are working extensively on trying to get these roads paved.
Also, Jay, we should look at down the Third and Beach.
Third and Beach Street is also part of Tegan. I think Beach Street comes online in 2019.
And then section.
Yes, it's gonna go all the way from 2nd Street all the way up to almost the J.C. Barn. They where it curves and meets Ash Street. They're gonna pave the full length of Beach. That second intersection you're talking about, it's gonna take a lot more than what I can do with what I have to fix where the pavement's breaking apart. So in lieu of us putting money into that, we're just gonna try to wait until the grant becomes available, the money's available from the state to pave that road.
Don't they have just for the potholes, they have a packer that you use by hand?
We got a hand tammer and a gas tammer.
Right.
Yes.
So we don't have any trouble packing the potholes in?
No, sir.
Okay.
No. Our problem is the lack of tack. Tack is the bond that bonds the cold patch to the base. Because what happens when we put this cold patch in these holes, they're squared up, filled back up with GAB, traffic runs over, gets packed down, cold patch goes on. When the rain comes, like we had last week, all that water goes to the lowest spot, which is the pothole. Goes under, kicks it out. Through all the years past, they didn't square them up. They were just filling them up. So it's still a bowl-shaped hole they was doing. So as traffic goes over, the weight distribution, water, same thing over. It's just a repeat.
Have y'all paid attention to that street behind the hospital, that 4th Street, from 4th Street over to Peter?
South 4th Street is actually on me 17 from Ann to Lewis.
Okay.
We're gonna try to do that. You're talking about Lower 4th Street?
Lower 4th, right behind the hospital there.
Lower 5th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
We'd like to
bad
get
shape.
them, we'd like to get them on SPLOSH if we can, but I think MLK is more the larger target.
Yeah.
But we are aware of all these roads. It's just a matter, we've gotten a lot of roads paved. I think we've paved about 15 since I started the paving program. So we're making pretty good gains on paving the roads.
A couple other items, Mr. Mayor. We are following a practice with these new ASLs when, as they are distributed and people are using them. If they do go missing, we'll replace them. If somebody has a police report that they can furnish, or we will charge them and put it on their bill. And we could spread that over. But if they produce a police report, then there'll be no charge to the customer. I had mentioned during the work session, we have an opportunity to secure 2 LDR camera equipment for 2 additional police cars. And the LDR is a magnificent technology for identifying not only the owner of the car, but the status of their licenses, and the insurance, and that sort of thing. And it allows us to more effectively enforce the law in the city of Cochran. The arrangement is from PFS. I'd like to ask the police chief to address some of these questions. Public Finance Solutions LLC, and they're in the business of assisting city and county police departments with installing camera equipment on their cars. The way the deal works is they will finance the purchase and the installation of the camera equipment for the officers to use. And over a 4-year period, the life of the equipment is 10 years. Over a 4-year period, they will receive 50% of the revenue off of the tickets that are written. The city will receive the other 50%, and that'll cover their investment in the equipment. This is a lease arrangement. It's not going to require any kind of budget for the city. It's not going to affect the city taxpayers at all. But it will allow the city to more effectively enforce the law and more efficiently also. I'd like to ask the chief to address, we already have 2, and you can inform us of how it works now.
Oh yeah, we have 2 systems already in place on 2 cars, and this opportunity came along to add to our current inventory at no additional cost. I do want to make one thing really clear to you and to the public, that the revenue sharing issue concern that Richard just indicated, there is no minimum required. There's no minimum number of citations. There's no minimum amount of money. There is no minimum anything that our officers have to go out and do. Okay, so I just want to make sure, I don't want anyone to leave here or have any kind of misunderstanding that this is a revenue type thing, because it's not. The primary and sole purpose of adding this technology to additional cars is for the very same reason that we did it 3 years ago for the first 2 units that we bought, and that's to just simply help the officers be more efficient and effective in enforcing the law. So I just want to really make sure that no one thinks this is about revenue, because it's not. The amount of revenue that is shared with under this lease arrangement has no minimum requirements or no minimum guarantees of any type whatsoever. Not only that, according to this contract, the city can terminate the contract at any time for any reason. So,
what's the cost of them, Chris, after 4 years?
After 4 years?
It was for 4 years.
Oh,
We have to share revenue.
the initial cost is about $36,000 is what the lease agreement's going to be. That's no cost to the city now. That's to the financing company. There is 0 cost to the city throughout the entire program, from day 1 through day whatever. It will never cost the city a penny. Beyond, at the end of 4 years, if we chose to go through the full 4-year contract, the equipment would become the city's for $1 each.
How do they determine whether you write a ticket or not? Is that an honor system with you?
How does who determine?
Well, if they're basing, they're getting paid on the number of citations you write, how do they get that number?
It's a totally an honor system. They just simply rely on us to report to them what the activity that we're generating with them. Just completely. They have no way to know what we're doing, because they can't have access to that information. So they have no way of knowing what we're generating from their equipment. It's a complete honor system.
Is it just fines and not forfeitures?
Just fines that are generated from it.
So if the forfeiture, we seize the car, or
No.
money involved here, does we have to split that 50?
No, by law, they're not entitled to any of that. By law, any type of police seizure of money, equipment, or things like that can only be utilized in a very narrow list of ways, and a finance company would have no legal access or right to that money. It couldn't be given to them.
Only thing, they get ticket money.
They get part of it, yes, part of it. And one of the ways we looked at this, just so you'll know, is some may have a concern about the 50% cost share. But one of the ways we looked at it is 50% of zero is zero, right? But 50% of something is whatever that amount of money ends up being. So, it doesn't cost us anything at all. But
why are they giving it to you on the basis that they ain't gonna get, that they know they might not get nothing out of it?
that's just their risk they're taking. And as another note of interest, we're not the only agency. As of yesterday, there were, I think, 8 other Georgia agencies. It's a new program, and there are 8 other Georgia agencies that are already participating in the program.
And all 8 of them, and nobody get them nothing, they don't soon be out of business.
That's their problem.
Any further questions?
Do you need a motion to get it?
We could, it's not going to impact the budget, but I think a motion would be appropriate.
I make a motion that we go through with that process based on the information we were provided.
Second.
First and second, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Last thing, real quick, Mayor and Council, we do have the gateway signs proposal before DOT. We've applied for an encroachment permit, and I'll keep you updated on that. As soon as that's updated in March, I'll pass out at least the sign design that was approved by the last council. Current council may want to make a change, but that's for replacing the entrance signs to the city of Cochran. And DOT, it's in their hands. We have applied for encroachment, and we're trying to speed it along as best we can. And
Do you have any estimated time on that?
I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks we're going to hear something. I think you have a copy of my monthly report. Department heads, Chief Coley, do you have anything?
I really don't have much other than I'll be glad to answer any questions you have about my reports. And I just really wanted to point out a couple of things on my cover sheet that I gave you here that kind of summarizes our activity for the month of January. And we had 817 total reports generated during the month, and we made 37 arrests for the month of January. And you can see the FBI Part 1 and Part 2 crimes are down for the month of January. Our actual crime rate as compared to January of 2015 was almost 24%
Chris, I'm
less.
not sure anybody got that.
Does everyone have?
They were saying they didn't have it, I just wanted to make sure you got it to them.
Oh, I don't know what was in that packet. I was just told that you guys don't have this, so we can maybe. I can't go make copies for all of you right now, so well, I guess since you don't have this, let me just tell you that our crime rate for January was 23.59%. less than January of a year ago. So that continues the trend of crime reduction in the city. And we patrolled 8,587 miles for January. We average somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 miles per month patrolling. And the officers, we had 48 training hours during the month of January. And other than that, it's just a lot of numbers in different categories that I try to provide you. So maybe we can get that to you. I can email it to each of you, and there's also a list of arrests that for the month. Like I said, we had 37 arrests, and then all the other. I flood you with paperwork every month. I want to try to give you all the information you need. Our animal control report is in here also, and probation report, municipal court, but we'll get this to you. And if you have any questions, I guess you don't have anything to ask questions.
Thank you.
Are you fully staffed, Chris?
Yes, we are fully staffed now.
Chief Kevin Knowles, you want to give a report on the recent foundation grant?
Yes, sir. The last council, back in January, but I told you about the different grants we had out there. On January 28th, I got to go present what we were trying to do, which is our training ground to build a tower, which helps with ISO and so forth and so on. On February 1st, we got awarded the $3,500. So, and that'll be for building that tower. So all the work will be done by us. So, except for setting the pole. I don't think we got a big enough truck to do that. So, but everything else will be on there. And if you got the monthly report, it's kind of a summary of any questions I'd be glad to answer.
You still fully staffed?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, smoke detector program, I forgot about what we had that in there. I only have 3 people that I've gotten in the city of Cochran. I know there's more than 3 people that don't have smoke detectors in their house. So if somebody wants to get on this, it's free. We're even going to put it up for you. Okay, so you just got to be there and open the doors. Okay, so if we can get that out, so whoever's on the Facebook, if they want to put something good out there, let's do a smoke detector, sir, ma'am.
Come to the fire station.
They can't, or they can just call them. All I need is their name and address. That's all right. Thank you.
I'll put that on my board out front and ready for a month or so and get the word out there. We'll put it on our Facebook page also.
Send me a memo, I'll get on the website.
Yes, sir. I'll see you tonight.
On your incident report, on the pie graph you did, you showed 72% of the calls were in the county and 28 in the city. That's basically what you've been seeing, 68 to 72%.
68, 70, 72, we're a little bit higher.
Was the question ever answered whether or not the fire department would be allowed out of the city limits to an accident? I understand that the first responders would go, but sometimes you need a fire truck, like some of the accidents. Are they not allowed to leave the county for a car accident after June 3rd?
There will be a fire truck dispatched that will be coming from the county. The county will have a fire truck.
Like from their volunteer places that aren't staffed?
According to the agreement at this time, that will be our stance at this point.
Do they have the equipment like the city has, like to extract somebody from a motor vehicle?
EMA does. Yes. And that's a county function. Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Mr. Mayor, I think Public Works Director has already addressed the council. That's all I have. If you have any questions about the finance report, please let me know.
Okay, council discussion items, do we have that? Okay.
Yeah. Chris.
Yes, sir.
On Johnson Street, that club, whatever that is they got up there, what are y'all doing about it?
We'll have to discuss that.
Oh, all right.
All right. I can tell you it's being addressed, but I'd prefer not to publicly discuss our operations.
Yeah, cause some need to be done.
Yes, sir, I agree. I agree.
Okay, public comments, Mary Pitts. You don't need it? Took care of it. Red Wilson. Yes, sir.
You've answered, it was about the park.
Okay.
Like I always do. And jobs.
Thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to address y'all again. I came to the city of Cochran by this same council hiring as the inventory control clerk for the city of Cochran. I believe it was in 1979. I worked with the city for 2 years. During that time, I and 9 other people, including Andrew we came together and became very concerned about the housing situation for black folk in the city of Cochran. And 35 years later, it's about the same way it was then, but I'm not gonna go into that. But I did try to do something about it. I bought some property, I invested in it. I brought bulldozers in here and cleaned it up. And I set up trailers. Each one of those trailers had air conditioning, wash and dry, underskirt. Done it very well with it. They had one house that I remodeled. And as time went on, there was a house across the street from it. They burned it down. Then the house that I remodeled, they started burning it down. Board by board. On the corner of 6th and Thompson. I reported this to the police department. I reported it to the sheriff's department. Over that period of time, when I had the trouble I've had with vandalism, they tore up my property, the whole 9 yards. Andrew was on the full police department, John was on the police department, Charles was on the police department. Everybody knows about these reports that I filed. That time is going on. Y'all have come up with this ordinance that, quote unquote, somebody ISO. And so this guy that y'all hired, he brought some papers up there to my office, and I told him I would open them in front of the city council. And so I'm not gonna eat more until I get down there. So here it is, something here that, final notice of action. This letter is being sent to you because of the vacant property you own on Thompson Street, such and such, so you are in violation. I never tore up anything in the city of Cochran, period. I've never destroyed nothing. I can't understand how I'm in violation. Then he came back to my office yesterday and wrote me a citation. So now, where am I? I don't get it. I just don't get it. I spent all that money I paid to the city. I spent over close to $7,000 in taps that I put out there on that property. All the stuff I put out there was new. It wasn't tore up when I put it out there. Now, here it is, I'm 62 years old. I got congested heart failure. I got a pacemaker, and I'm not able to go out there, and I'm not going to even try to go out there and clean it up. I'm not going to push myself to doing it. Because I didn't destroy it. Only thing I did was made the thing about it. That's it. Now, so I want to address the council. I want the council to talk to me. Because these rules and things came from the council.
I think at this point, council cannot, or will not, should not, address this. You have a citation. It has moved from the level of council to the court system. You need to address your concerns with the municipal court.
You brought the citation to me yesterday at my office.
At that point, it moved from beyond the council to the court.
But I had told him, when he came to me, that I would address the council.
You're welcome to address the council, but council should not be engaged in any action since we are now into the legal process, and your next venue would be with the court system.
I just don't care. So I'm wasting my time to come and see you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Upcoming events, meetings, and events here. Regularly scheduled city council work session will be at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock on March 8th, with the regular meeting at 7 o'clock. Richard, we do not have anything for executive session, do we?
No, sir. No, we don't.
Okay. Is there anything outstanding? We're ready to adjourn.
Well, the only thing is we have the training sessions sponsored by the Carl Vinson Institute for newly elected. I'd just like to remind newly elected to sign up for Tifton or Athens, and so because that's coming up soon.
Newly elected has to go to training, so.
Yeah.
For you council members.
We're going to TIF.
You two going to Tifton? You going to Athens? Please give us your
Football season? You going during football season?
I had it on. Yeah.